I'm impressed. I got a lot of smiles and young faces out here. This is pretty cool. I normally don't get the privilege of working with younger groups. So for my baseball players here, I promise that you guys are going to laugh. We give you guys some stuff that you guys are going to laugh about today at your parents' expense. And then I'm also going to give you guys some tools to make you guys better baseball players, because that's why you're here, right? Is there anybody here who's not a baseball player? No? So everyone's all part of the same team? All right, awesome. Olympians, pro athletes, high school athletes, young kids. And one of the things that they all kind of have in common when they come to me is that they have this idea of being mentally tough. Either they have it or they want to have it. So I'm going to ask everybody here, give me an idea of what you think being mentally tough is. First, I'm going to ask a player.
Not crying?
Ooh, not crying. Okay, that's a good. That would be true. I think in certain circumstances. Yeah. What about you, young man?
Thinking strong.
Talk to me a little bit more about that. What do you mean by that? Don't look at mom and dad. What do you mean? Give me an idea. Give me an example.
Make smart choices during the games.
Oh, I like that. That's a good one. How about from a coach? Where are my coaches? Sir, give me an idea of what being mentally tough would be.
Being able to take each moment as it is and deal with it as it is and know that the past can't be controlled and it's just the here and now.
I like that, being present. Playing what we say, playing the game one pitch at a time. All right? Now, where's a parent here? Let me ask a parent. What would be your idea of what being mentally tough would be? Let me ask that gentleman here with the arms crossed.
Positive attitude.
Having a positive attitude. Yeah, attitude and effort's really big. So let me ask you a question, because this is for the benefit of not only our young kids, but also for the benefit of our parents. Let's take a step into the world of the parents. More importantly, your working world. So what I'm going to do a little role play here, using a parent and using a kid. So I'm going to have a chair. I'm going to grab this, if I can slide this through. And I'm going to have a volunteer. Dad in the back. Come on over. Thanks for volunteering. And is that your son next to you?
Yeah.
Come on over, son. I'm Mario.
Jonas.
Hey, Jonas, nice to meet you. Have a seat. Promise we won't bite.
All right.
He might, but I won't. What's your son's name?
Gage.
Hey, Gage. How you doing? I'm Coach Mario.
Good.
So, Dad, what do you do for a living?
Real estate construction.
Real estate and construction. Are you your own boss?
Yeah.
Okay. So, let me ask you a question. If you had a boss, if you're married, probably a wife.
Divorced.
Oh, okay. Got rid of the boss.
Got rid of it.
Okay. In most employments, most jobs, we've got somebody we have to report to, right? Let's say you've got an employee who doesn't always do their job well. How do you deal with that?
Usually encourage them.
Do you? In most cases, you typically see a parent or a coach sometimes try and get a message to a kid. Sometimes, unfortunately, it isn't always done the right way. Sometimes they're always on them, right? So let me do a little role reversal, because a lot of times parents don't understand that the message we give our kids from the stands ends up being the wrong message and is perceived the wrong way. So I'm going to have you be his boss today. And guess what I'm going to have you do? You're going to come talk to him, and you're going to show up at his work, and you're going to tell him what a lousy job he did. And I want you to have fun with it. Make him feel miserable. Can you do that?
Yeah.
He's not going to touch you, I promise. I'll hold him back. Okay? So pretend you just came into his office. What's his name?
Jonas.
Jonas. Tell him what a lousy job he did on his report.
You did bad on your report.
Keep telling him. Tell him why.
I'm not going to fire you.
Yeah, okay. Now, I'm glad we can do this in a safe environment where it's tongue-in-cheek. Now, let me ask you a question. If we were to work in an environment where we had a boss who was constantly doing this to us, how
A, how good are we feeling about this boss? B, how good are we feeling about the environment we're working in? And C, how hard are you willing to work now for this person? Give me an answer. Anybody? Not very. Not very. Now, you guys have been playing baseball not for a while, but a couple of years, right? Have you guys seen other coaches really rip into the kids and their players? You're terrible. You didn't do this, do that. Or have you seen parents do that to their kids? There's a reason why we do this. There's a right way and a wrong way. And sometimes we don't understand that our way is hurting the player. Because now let's change. Let's have child sit down and have dad stand up. Now, imagine the power of the parent, which we all have. I'm a parent of 2 boys. And dad comes in here and he lays into him. It's supposed to be a baseball game, right? It's supposed to play ball. It's one of the only sports that any of us is exposed to where the umpire says at the beginning, play ball. Play. Operative word. And yet, we have our own expectations as dad, sometimes as coaches, on what they should do and how they should do it. But we're in our 40s. I'm a little older. And how old are you?
9.
And he's 9. He can't comprehend what it is we're trying to get him to do. So how do we get them to grow and develop if we're always giving him negative feedback? You were terrible. I can't believe you're so terrible. Oh my God. I should disown you. You're going to walk home. Now, we laugh at that, but the tragedy is I see it all the time. And so the reason why this is so critical is to make sure that we are helping our kids, not hurting our kids. Does that make sense? Do you guys get that? You sure? More importantly, do moms and dads get it? Good. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, don't leave me. Don't leave me hanging. Now, so this came out of this idea of being mentally tough. Kids, parents, what traits, what characteristics do you have that could be defined as being mentally tough? And are you helping yourself or are you hurting yourself? Parents, are we helping them or are we hurting them to develop these skills? Because the one thing we have control of is how much confidence we feed them. And the best way for that to happen is for us to love them and to love them unconditionally and to help them along the way. But for those of us who learn sometimes the hard way, I was a very strong-willed parent, my wife very strong-willed parent, we almost choked the passion out of my oldest kid, who was a pretty special basketball player. I had to practice what I was preaching and put the brakes on how I was delivering the message so that he could start playing the game for himself, not for me. And that was probably the greatest gift that I learned as a dad, was the drive where I pulled over and I said, if you want to stop playing sports, if you want to stop playing basketball, you can, because I don't want you doing this for me. And he just looked at me, and it was a profound moment in our relationship. He just looked at me and said, what do you mean, Dad? Well, I can tell you are struggling. I can tell you're not happy anymore. And I think I'm the reason for it. I can't have that. Because the greatest gift that I have is you. So if I'm going to do the right job as a parent, I need to parent you correctly. That means I need to love you and get out of the way. Now, fast forward 8 years later, he is a redshirt freshman at Eastern Washington University, full scholarship. And my 16-year-old has gotten all the benefits from my failures with the first one. And he has a chance to play in the NBA. Really, really strong lesson there, parents. If these guys are going to be good at whatever it is they want to do, they have to want it. And we got to kind of get out of the way. Okay. We just said that. This cannot be understated. If there's nothing else, parents, that you walk away and you take away from this, understand the influence we have on our kids. It is stronger, more powerful than we realize. And we as parents, mentors, teachers, coaches, we all have a responsibility to do what I use, and I love this term, pump air in their tires. Because when we're driving a car, and we get a flat on the road, what happens if we keep driving on it? It's going to ruin the rim, going to damage the car. Might be permanent damage. Life circumstances, the challenges of the sport, are no different than that tire, which eventually gets deflated. We need to give them the tools to properly inflate those tires and show them by example. And if we do that, the greatest thing we're going to have is a kid who has confidence, who's going to find their voice, who's going to stand up for themselves when they need to, and deal with adversity, which is what life is all filled with. So it doesn't matter whether or not they are Olympic athletes, pro athletes, they're kids. And we need to teach them how to be able to deal with adversity, and it's through being confident. All right, we keep going back and forth the same thing. Here we go. How do we bridge the gap? I'm going to show you an example of a young man. Anybody seen this? Anybody know who Adam Bender is? Good, you guys are going to be in for a treat. How many of you guys sulk and get down after you have a strikeout? Don't lie. Okay. How many of you guys sometimes think about quitting the game because the game's too hard? No? It might be one or two of you. I'm going to show you an example of this young man who doesn't have all of the skills and tools you have, but he has a lot of heart. And for parents, the lesson in this is understanding that our kids can do more than what sometimes we allow them to or allow them to be. And Adam is a wonderful example of how to do things in a different way. How many of us as parents would probably keep our kid from playing a sport or doing this because we're afraid they're going to get hurt? You know? And yet Adam's parents said, I don't want my kid to be treated differently. I don't want him to be treated differently. I want him to feel like he can do anything. That's where that mental toughness comes in. So if we dumb you down, if we baby you, you're never going to hit your potential. Now, by the same token, as parents and coaches, if we're too hard on you and we're going to break you, we may not be able to build you back up. But it's important that you guys see, you as players, what you really are able to do. Because we have a lot more in our tank. We have a lot more that we're capable of doing than we realize. I love that video. All right, let's see if we can get out of it. There we go. Finally started to figure this out. So, how do you become mentally tough? It starts with confidence, starts with character. And that all starts with what we do at home. That's where we as parents and coaches and mentors and teachers, we help to facilitate what happens at home. And I love breaking down the word character because it has so many different meanings. You know, C could be for about confidence. How many times you walk around seeing kids who have had a bad day, or even parents and adults having a bad day, and it shows in their body language or their heads hanging down? Shoulders back. Come in and step into the field of play because you're happy to be here. Show me your confidence. How about attitude and effort, hard work? How about routines? What's this? Anybody see this? What is that? Yeah, and why do you do it? Yeah, absolutely. When you get nervous, the game speeds up on you. And that's why baseball players step out of the box and breathe. It's to slow the game down. That's called a routine. And in order for that to become a routine, you have to be willing to practice it. Does that make sense? Okay. How about accountability? Do you blame other people because somebody made a mistake or that you made a mistake? A lot of people do. A lot of pros do, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. Communicate. Do you guys talk to each other? Do you pick each other up? Or do you guys point the finger and say, oh, little Billy's terrible. I don't like little Billy. He sucks. No? Good, because a lot of kids do. Team, Be the example and make sure you respect each other, guys, because I see a lot of travel teams who don't. They especially don't respect their opponent. And that's important. You need to. Because without them, you have no game. Now, I've had the privilege of being around some pretty special mentors and teachers. Joe Madden being one of them, Hugh McCutcheon, who was the past Olympic men's and women's volleyball coach. And if you don't think character doesn't matter, let me tell you it does. Because as coaches or people in position to be able to pick up a phone and call a scout or call an organization or call a college and say, hey, you got to come see this kid. He's special. Not only is he special, his parents get it. They're not those wacky parents in the stands that are constantly yelling and screaming. The kid gets good grades. He is respectful. He does his homework. He gets it done in the classroom. He gets it done outside the classroom. He gets it done on the field of play. Find me those people. Call me when you see them, because I want them on my team. And that's coming from a guy who's a pretty good skipper in the major leagues and a guy who's done it at the highest level in the Olympic field and is now back in college. He's the head coach for the women's team, I think, in University of Minnesota. How many times have you guys seen this? The parent or the player? Yeah. And guess what? Coaches and scouts don't forget this. They remember that. So either you're part of the problem that they don't want anything to do with, or you might be part of their solution that they may want to invest in you for. Parents as well as kids. That's important. So how do you choose to respond to adversity? How do you deal with it? Do you blame others? Or are you like Adam, where you're gonna suck it up and deal with it? Very important. We talked about routines. Parents can give good routines and examples of how to behave when adversity hits. How to behave when somebody doesn't do the right thing on the other side of the field. That's important. Are you dialed in? Are you present? Are you focused? Or are you letting your distractions get the best of you? Are you practicing your routines? Who's a pretty good hitter here? Ooh, I like that. You were fast to hold that arm up. How come you're a good hitter? What makes you good? Yeah.
I have a routine that I do every time.
Can you describe it to me?
Like, it's like the one that you did up there.
Uh-huh.
But I go like this with my bat, my hand, and take deep breaths.
Love it. Why do you take the deep breaths?
So I could get, well, I watch the ball the
Uh-huh.
whole time.
Uh-huh.
I don't, when someone's talking, I don't listen to them, I just watch the ball. Yeah.
What's your name?
Rylan?
Ryland?
Yeah.
Ryland, come on over. I'm going to use you as an example about modeling success. I want you to bring about 3 or 4 of your teammates with you.
Mitchell? Andre, Gabriel, Michael.
Okay. So Rylan, I want you to be here. I want you to be my batter.
Okay.
Okay? I want you 3 to surround him. You're going to be his thoughts. I want you to go over there. You're going to be his pitcher, the opposing pitcher. All right? So show me your routine.
Go like this. I take a deep breath. Go like this, point my bat. I go like this a couple times. I move my body.
Okay.
And then get my eyes on the ball.
I love it. Love it. Yours, Coach? One of yours? Ooh, I like that. So let me ask you a question. Is there ever a time when you doubt yourself?
When there's when I strike out.
Oh, and what? And
Sometimes.
when that happens, what thoughts come in your head?
I'm gonna get it next time.
Okay. Oh, is that what you say to yourself? Do you ever get depressed? Do you ever get down on yourself?
When there's 3 strikes in a row and I don't swing.
And what do you think? What kind of thoughts do you think get into your head then?
I'm oh, come on, I could have swung at that.
Okay. Did you hear what he said? All right, I want you to repeat that when I point to you. Okay. What else? What other thoughts come into your head?
Just next time, just don't think of anything else and watch ball next time and send me back.
What about negative thoughts? Any negative thoughts ever come? Guys, when you guys strike out or when you guys are struggling, what thoughts pop in your head? Anybody? You got one? Yeah. I should have done better. I want you to say I should have done better. What's another one? What's another thing that pops in our head? Yes, sir.
Come on, let's go.
Come on, let's go. Okay. So I want to do a little experiment here. Okay? I want you to pretend like you're struggling. And I want these to be your voices in your head. Okay? And I'm going to have this little guy pretend like he's throwing at you. Okay? His job, he's already struck you out like 3 times. This is the last time you're going to be in the game. You're going to face him. And you're starting to doubt yourself. And those routines are starting to get a little uncomfortable, a little tighter. Okay? So I want you to get in the batter's box. I want you to start yelling everything that I told you to say. Go.
I should have done better.
Loud. Loud. In fact, teammates, I want you to help your teammates out here. I want you to get in his head. I want you to make him nervous. Keep going. I want you to face him. That first ball, I want you to brush him back. Brush him back. I want you to throw right at his belly. Louder. 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 Now, let me ask you a question. You start hearing all these thoughts in your head, what happens?
I just don't, I take my mind off them.
It's hard to, though, isn't it? It's hard to. These voices can be represented by the parent in the stands saying, come on! What's your name?
Rylan.
Ryland! You own this guy. What's the matter with you? You used to hit him when he was in 3rd grade. Right? Oh, sorry, I'm mic'd. I'm probably blowing the speaker. And that's tough for a little guy. That's real tough. This could be grandma sitting in the stands who's never been there to watch her son play. And now he's feeling the pressure. Oh my gosh, my granny's here. Oh. Human. How do you flush that? How do you let that go? How do you clear your head?
I just try to get my mind off them.
That's good. And I'm telling you, for how old are you, 11?
Yeah.
For him to be 11 and to be this poised and articulate it, pretty special. Pretty special. Now, where's my littlest guy here? Come here, you. I'm going to borrow you. Okay? Come on over. What's your name, Iowa? Brandon, how you doing? I'm Coach Mario. Can you do me a favor? I'm going to have you go piggyback on him. Can you hold him? Okay, ready? Oh, you got him?
Yeah.
Now, this is another example of what I call carrying baggage into the plate. This is your last at bat. Bottom of the 9th, 2 outs. We got to score. And you're holding on to those last 3 strikeouts. Brendan here is representing the last 3 strikeouts. If you're holding on to this stuff, how successful do you think he's going to be swinging the bat?
Not very.
Going to be awful tough, huh? Yeah. And then if you keep holding on to this thought, the next game and the next game and the next game, Brendan, who starts off like a little guy, ends up becoming this huge gorilla. And it would be like me having him hold on to you and him hold on to you. Come on this side. And him hold on to you. Now, let me see you swing the bat, son. Yeah. Pretty hard. This is an example of what happens sometimes when we drive home and we rip into our kids because they didn't perform to the extent that we wanted them to. How do we how do we help them? We shed the monkey off. Good job. We let go of all this stuff and we teach them how to become mentally strong. It's just a game. Go back to your routine. I trust you. I know you can do this. Okay? Or, better yet, the drive home, you don't talk about the game. You say, where do you want to go? What's your favorite ice cream?
Chocolate?
What's your favorite place to go get it?
I don't know.
Well, you need to find out. That's mom and dad's job. Italy? I'm not flying into Italy to get chocolate ice cream. Okay? But you guys get where I'm going with this? We got to learn how to let it go because they got to learn how to let it go. And if we don't, how in the world are they? Real important. Give these guys a hand. Great job. My voice is in the background. Thank you, Michael. Now, what we think is typically true. And so we need to give these kids the gift of confidence. We need to get them to have not self-doubt, but self-assuredness. Because what they believe is truly a coming attractions of what's going to happen. So again, we have a greater influence on them than what we realize. And the best way we can help formulate that confidence is to get them to feel good about themselves, even or especially when they struggle. That's critical. Okay, couple little key things. Some of these are common, some of these are probably you've heard. I want to repeat them one more time for you to read. If you have not seen this HBO documentary, parents, please write it down. Please go YouTube it. Please get on. It is the most profound piece of sports filmmaking for parents of athletes that's ever been put together. It came out about 2 years ago. Follows the story of four families, a golf family, a tennis family, a football family, and a basketball family. I happen to know 2 of the 3, and the 3rd I've seen because I've worked with a competitive golfer. It will blow your mind because it is truth on film. And some of us, will watch it and be embarrassed because you'll find a little bit of yourself in those parents. And sadly enough, without giving away the whole story, all 4 of those families, all 4 of those kids and those athletes have left the sport. Not on their terms. They've left the sport because the parents drug them away from it. They robbed them of their passion. And I see that more and more. So it's important. It's a profound piece. And I want you to watch it with your kids, please. It'll be probably the best thing that'll ever happen to you. Well, I shouldn't say the best. One of the better things that'll happen to you. Because it'll put things in perspective. Talked about that already. This relationship is more important than the relationship of coach and parent or coach and player, especially if you are the dad. Okay, if you're a dad and you're coaching your own kid, it is more important for you to be coaching other kids and you to be the dad. I know many athletes who have had a lot of success, but had a terrible upbringing, a terrible journey, and are willing and would be willing to give back all the millions of dollars that they've earned, all the trophies, all the world championship belts, to go back and reinvent the relationship with their parent. So if nothing else, understand the importance of the relationship and the role we have between father and son, mother and daughter, parent and child. Because once you do damage to that, there's no second chance. You can change teams. You can't change the household. And for coaches, this is important because I see a lot of coaches who sometimes live their life vicariously through their kids. They didn't get that minor league contract, so now I'm going to make sure I get one of my kids, either blood or one of my players, to get that minor league contract. Well, remember, our job is to be teachers and mentors. Not everyone's going to make it. So we need to be able to give them the best version of who they can be. Lisa Fernandez, I don't know how many players here know who that is. Lisa Fernandez is the greatest women's softball player to ever pick up a ball or a glove. The greatest. She's now on staff at UCLA for the softball team. She didn't understand the importance of making a transition from player to coach. She wanted everyone to be as great as her. She wanted everyone to work as hard as she did. And it wasn't until she lost quite a few players that she understood that her job is to make that player the best version of them that they can be, not a version of me. Does that make sense? It's also true of us as parents. I need to make this little guy the best version that God blessed him to become, not what I think he should be. Because if they're going to be great at anything, it has to come from here. It has to come from their want. Little quote that I put together. Greatness comes from those who want to achieve it for themselves and are willing to pay a price. But it cannot come from their coaches or their parents. We as influencing people, we can inspire a self-belief to see and fully embrace their potential in spite of the many fears and insecurities or hurdles along the way. That's about life. That's about life. Because life is not easy. But how they deal with life's challenges starts here, and that's what I love about sport. Because sports helps them form life skills. This is my contact. I've got a website. That's my personal email. That's my office and cell number. If there is anything that I could ever do to help you guys out, if there are ever any questions you guys have about athletes or about routines, I want you guys to reach out to me, okay?